welcome to this very first interview of Streaming Media East 2023 being held here at the Westin Copley in Boston, Massachusetts. And the first exhibitor that we're actually doing an interview with is a company called Dropp. So go ahead and introduce yourself. And
I am Sushil Prabhu. I'm the co-founder, CEO of Dropp, a micropayment company, which is a company that makes small payments viable for businesses.
And why micropayments?
So, in the last 20 years, there's been an incredible innovation in the digital space. There's lots of different ways you can watch video, iPad, iPhone, desktop, and it's going to continue on. You know, there's a broad adoption of digital technologies. But when it comes to payments, when it comes to how you make those purchases, there's not much that has happened, right? So there is really a need for small value purchases, and right now you can go out and buy a can of soda for $1, but you can't do the same thing on the internet because it's not offered. It's offered as a bundled package. So there is a real need for small value purchases, and the media is the most low-hanging fruit or the most needed.
And is the micropayment model sort of targeted toward emerging markets or first world markets? Where do you see the balance there?
We think that it really is a global, not a global concern, but it's a global need, right? We see that in the digital market mostly because when you make a purchase, you use your credit card. That's the only way you can make a purchase. Merchants can't really offer you small values because it's expensive. The transaction fee is very expensive. Right. So is this just a United States, US issue or global? No, since the pandemic, the appetite for digital services have exploded. I mean, it's like exponential growth, right? So initially it used to be just Netflix and Hulu. Now there are like 20, 100 services, and you can only subscribe to so much. So there is an actual need because there is so much going on right now in the industry, and it's going to just keep going up. People are a little tired of subscriptions. You can only subscribe so much. So no, I think this is a need. We definitely are based in the United States, but we're looking at the global market. There's a need in the entire world to build a cost-effective platform.
So when I've done consulting in the past to companies that look at average revenue per user, say for mobile devices, whether it's emerging markets like West Africa where I've worked, or India where I've worked, or Italy, the one, you seem to have different models around the world. So in some you can attach a micropayment to your cellular bill for the month. In others, you go buy a top-up card, and get more data and like that. In the States, it's always been sort of weird that we have I pay Verizon my phone bill, but I can't add a micropayment onto my Verizon bill or that kind of thing. Any sense as to why we've sort of gone that direction in the States, and how does the Dropp system
how the Dropp solves it? Well, thanks. Great question, by the way. You're right. All the models that you shared with me, which I do actually when I educate people in micropayments, it's already being done in West Africa and Africa and many other countries. The connection with the phone bill. United States has had a pretty good system with credit cards. It's really popular. I mean, you use that probably to buy a can of soda with a credit card.
Well, right, and yet you go into a store and they say you have to spend at least $5 because the transaction fee is so expensive.
And the same thing with the banking technology. It's pretty stable. It's pretty strong in this country. So whenever it comes to small payments and new payment technologies, people haven't really thought through it. We don't have a cost-effective payment. Let me give you one fact, which is that's something that surprises me. 50% of the consumer-reported payments in US are under $25. And post-pandemic, or even during the pandemic, 40% of them were using credit card to do small value transactions because people don't want to carry cash.
Right.
So what's happening is people are getting more used to the credit cards, and the merchants are making less and less. You could walk into a restaurant right now, have a bill for $100, and it'll say $5 discount if you pay me in cash. I've never seen that before.
Just like your doctor, if you paid in cash, so they didn't have to take it through the insurance company.
Actually, that's a good example. So I talk digital, but it really is an in-person thing. So there is an acute need here to do micropayments in US, and that's why we launched it here. But we see the need globally because here's my example, which there is these large companies, you may name Netflix, Hulu, HBO, everyone out there, and there are about 1,000 other video streaming companies out there who are struggling for the same consumers, right? Then there are video bloggers, then there is a creator economy. How can all of them make money just on ads? Because you need 1 million views to make money. How can I'm not going to subscribe to every video blogger out there. Micropayments can be used for micro tipping. So if you have thousands of followers, 50 cent tip, and that journalist or that publisher can sustain themselves.
Well, as a matter of fact, we just finished up doing the presentation of the research for the State of Streaming survey. And one of the points we were talking about in there that George Bocacciavo from Tulix brought up was this model around a number of his companies who have classically had subscriptions. Some of it's houses of worship, but some of it's, say, artists who also have a Patreon account. They're backing off of the subscription. They're putting a QR code in the corner to say, please donate or please pay me. And as he mentioned that, it sort of falls very nicely to what you're talking about as well, that micro tipping concept.
Yeah, well, love to show you the product. Exactly what you're saying, what we're talking about.
Very good.
There's a real need in the market. And the blockchain technology and the crypto have solved it, but you need to know crypto. The way we've solved it is we merged two technologies. We use the banking technology, which is very well regulated, because most people still use fiat, use US dollar, use currencies, local currencies. And then we merged it with distributed ledger technology, which gives you the cryptography, the security, the privacy, and all of that. So we kind of, you had asked me a question, how did we make it? We merged both of the technologies, a hybrid platform, and that made it possible, right? So you could be on a desktop, and you see this little blue drop on a content saying, it could be this actual episode right here, and you click on it, and you have a little extension on your browser, Safari, Chrome, Edge. It pops up, do you want to pay 10 cents to this? Do you want to follow them for 10 cents? Yep, I did. So it's not large payments, it's small payments, but I think there is this another leg, or this another leg in the digital economy that we can open up by enabling micropayments. We really believe in this.
So there, because I've been in this industry for about 25 years, there were a few companies who tried in the early days to do this. PayPal comes to mind, obviously, because PayPal started as an IOU model where it was a non-banking transaction. It was a transaction between you, and of course they fought the litigation about whether they were a bank or not. But then there were other companies who came along and said, what will make you do? And Apple sort of played in this with iTunes a bit. You put $25 in your account and then you spend it down, and therefore your transaction fees are lower. The problem with that is you were then stuck with $4.99 in 5 different accounts because you had to have some minimum in there and the cost to spend. Is your model similar in the fact that somebody has to come along and put, say, $10 in their account so that they're not going to have those Visa transaction fees?
Correct. So, into a certain fashion, yes. But people ask us why. We've talked about micropayments, and micropayments is not an innovative concept. It's been talked about for the last 25 years. It really is. And you're right. It was talked by Andreessen in 1997. Bill Gates, everyone has talked about it. But you need two things for a concept to be popular. One is there should be an appetite. There should be consumer appetite for something like this. There is now.
Right.
I mean,
fair point.
Large population
compared to what there was back then.
There. Like you said, well, I've seen this platform before where XYZ company started this. But if I can just buy a video with it, I'm not going to put $10 in my wallet.
Right.
If you say I can also go buy that Diet Coke on that store, or I could rent that scooter and I can do multiple things, then it becomes worthwhile.
It feels less like script and more like fiat at that point, as opposed
absolutely.
to... Okay.
So that's one. And the second is technology. You need the technology too. So now between what's happening in the banking technology, and you might have heard of it, the clearinghouse came up with, in US, came up with RTP, which is called real-time payments.
Right, sure.
Fed is about to come with Fed now. So the banking technology has also become much more modernized, and it's getting ready. And so is the distributed ledger or the blockchain technology. So when you combine those, you have something. So I'm saying there's an appetite, there's a demand, and then there's technology. I think this is the right time.
Very good. Fascinating. Thank you very much for your time. Again, the company is called Dropp, and we'll be right back with our next guest.
Thank you.
Fascinating. Thank you very much for your time. Again, the company is called Dropp, and we'll be right back with our next guest.
Thank you. I would like to know some of the companies you mentioned, which you stated.